Now before I save this, I want to show you how you could change the levels of darkness. Remember in the beginning I said that I work on medium, but I'm going to click on dark now, and you can see the effect that it made it look darker. We'll go back to medium, we'll go back to light. So you could still change this effect even though you've got all this lighting effect on it. Now if you want it even darker than the setting here, what you could do is just right click on the screen and you'll see the transparency setting here is at 20. If I want to make this darker, I'm going to change this to 15 and click OK, and you can see it got even darker. That doesn't look too bad, but let's go back with something like maybe 18. Okay, that looks good to me, so I'm going to save this image as my after image. So I'll go File, Save As. I'm going to save this as a JPEG file, so I'll change this to, see if you can see that. Change this to JPG. I don't want it to be an LND at this time, and I will just type in after. So now I have this as my after image. Now I'm going to show you another step that you can do. The program gives you the ability to label the fixtures that are in the image. To do that, you go up here to this icon here and click on it, and you will see the Nighttime Decor library here. So we put in this 7-inch pathway hat light here. So if I click on it, it gives me a spec sheet on that particular light. I could print out this spec sheet by clicking on print, or I can click add and I can add a label to the image. So let's say I want to label this. I click on the light and then I move my mouse. I don't click and drag, I click and release and move and then click again, and it places a label there. Now that text is a little large, and if you put a lot of those on the screen, it's going to really look like a mess. So you want to change that font size. What you do is you right click on the font, then go here to font. You could change the font. We're going to change the size here, so we want to get something much smaller, like a size 12. Click OK, click OK again, and as you can see, the font size changed. But because the arrow is pointing over here, we need to redo it. So I'm going to delete that by pressing the delete key on the keyboard, and I'll do it again. So now it's placed a label on that. And we had another spotlight here, which I think was this one here. So we'll click on that spotlight, click add. We'll add that spotlight there. Now you could put a label for every light if that's what you want to do. But it does, like I say, make a mess in the image. And we had a tree light over here, so we'll click on the tree light, click add, and we'll label that. So I think you get the idea. That's what this library is for. You could print out samples for your customer directly from the program, or you could just label things on the screen. Now I've gone through and I've labeled all the fixtures that I placed in the image. And as you can see, this may not be the image you want to present to the customer to impress them of the lighting effects you're going to do, but it's also something that you may want to print out to show them what type of lights they're getting and how many they're getting. And it could be also good for your employees so they know what goes where. So you would want to save this as a separate image, so you don't overwrite and lose your other before that doesn't have the labeling on it. So I'm going to go up here to File, Save As. It's already set to JPEG, and I'm going to say After with Labels. So it's a different image than my after. So we'll click Save. You may also want to save this as an LND in case you change something in the future. It's easy to just select on something, press the delete key, and put a different label in there. So now we're going to save this as an LND file. So we got it is the Joneses with fixtures after with labels, and we're going to change the file format here to LND. Make sure that it says LND and click Save. Now you might be thinking, how many times do I really need to save this image? This guy keeps saving every little step. That is true. I have learned from experience it's better to save more than you need, and you can always go back and delete them, than to not save something and waste the time recreating something. So I'm going to show you a couple little tricks here. First of all, We're going to pop back into the imaging program, and remember I saved this file as an LND and I saved it as a JPEG to bring it into the effects. Right now on the screen I have the LND, so I could click on any of these light fixtures, I could move them, I could change them. Another thing I didn't show you is what if you put in these fixtures and you decide you want to change your mind, but you just saved the JPEG. Let's go over to the JPEG file. You see, I can't move these. In order to take them out of the picture, I'd have to go in and use the clone tool, and it would probably take me about 30 seconds to a minute for each fixture, which would take me about 10 or 15 minutes. But if I go to the LND file and I want to delete something, I just click on it and press the delete key and it's gone. Let's bring that back by hitting undo. Or if I want to change it to a new fixture, I'll just bring up my path lights and I'm going to just click and drag a new fixture on top of them, and as you can see I didn't have to size it down, I didn't have to do basically anything but click and drag it on top of the other images to change them. So let's get these two over here because I'm going to show you a little trick. So now I've changed all those path lights to a different product. Now what I would want to do if I want to bring it into the effects is save this as a JPEG. So I'm going to change my file format to JPEG, and it's already set in here as a work in progress. We don't want that. I'm just going to label this number 2. So I'll click save. Now watch, I'm going to flip back to the effects program. I'm going to go here to File, I'm going to go to background image, and I'm going to go to replace. So I'm going to replace the background image with my new one here called fixtures 2. So I'll double click on that, and as you can see, or can you see, let's zoom in, it changed out the lighting fixtures. Now with my lighting effect there, because they're in a different place, I may have to fix that, but it's changed those out. So if you change something, in this case it looks like it's only messed up one of them, I could go back in there and fix that real quick. Of course I'm going to have to remove all the labels, but again I saved it as an LND, so removing these labels is a piece of cake. It takes me about 15 seconds. They're all removed. I want to fix this one here. I'll zoom in. I need to erase where that effect is, so I'll go up here to the lighting, and because this is an LND still, I'll go to erase. I can erase that, and then I could go back here to draw, turn off my width, get a small brush, and I could fix it for this new lighting fixture. And we'll zoom out. And as you can see, in a matter of seconds, I've changed all the pathway lights in this image. And again, I would have to resave it with these new fixtures in it. And I would have to relabel it, of course, because the labels don't pertain anymore because I've changed it. But again, it's really quick. Let's just do a couple of them to show you how quick it is. I changed it to 6 here. So again, I can go in here and relabel these. Another thing I didn't show you is sometimes a faster way to label is just to copy and paste the label. So I've got this selected, I do a Control C on the keyboard, I do a Control V for paste, and I'll just keep putting labels in here this way. Much faster. So those are a few tricks to keep in mind.